folks, David here, and thanks for checking out this song-specific patch demo. This is a MainStage 3 patch that's designed to help you nail this song live, even if you're the only keyboard player. We've designed this patch to rely only on MainStage 3's built-in audio effects and instrument plugins, so you don't need any expensive third-party instruments or plugins. All you need is MainStage 3 running on any modern Mac computer and this patch. We've designed this patch at the original key and at the original tempo of the song, but you could adjust the key or the tempo as needed to suit the way that your team plays it. To make things even easier, this patch is pre-mapped to our flagship Sunday Keys MainStage template, which is the worship template that I use every time I perform live. If you have Sunday Keys, you can just drag and drop this patch right into the template, and it will be pre-mapped to the extra section, so it's really easy to get playing fast. If you don't have Sunday Keys, you can also open this patch in any other MainStage 3 concert and map it as you desire. Now what I'd like to do for you is go through the patch section by section and teach you how to play the song one part at a time. Let's take a look.
Hey folks, Ryan here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our MainStage patch for Love Has a Name. Now before we get started, I just wanted to make a note that this patch does use the mod wheel. And so if you don't have a mod wheel, don't worry, you can go ahead and check out our blog. We've got a tutorial for how to map a fader or a knob and use that as the mod wheel. So you can still get the full functionality out of the patch, even if you don't have the mod wheel. With that said, we're going to go ahead and start off by taking a look at the different sounds that come in this patch. If you look at the MainStage screen, you can see that there's different layers mapped across the keyboard in different areas. So starting kind of at the left, the lower octave here, we've got a piano with some delay on it. We've got a synth bass and then a harp gliss. And that sounds like this. So you may have noticed that when I played the initial note there, the harp gliss didn't come right in. It kind of waits a little bit and then comes in. And so one thing to note about that part of the sound is that if you have the finger on the key and you hold that out, the harp gliss is going to come in. But if you just hit the note and then say use the sustain pedal to hold that out, the harp gliss isn't really going to come in. Another thing is that we're starting with the mod wheel up 100%. And that's because that's how we're going to start the song, and also the harp gliss won't play unless the mod wheel is up about 10% or higher. So moving up in this upper octave here in the left hand, we've got an arp bass, which is one of the staple sounds in the song. And then we've also got a synth layered on top, and that has a cutoff filter that's modulated by an LFO. It gives kind of a swell or a sidechain sound. And so that sounds like this. So moving on, in the right hand, we've got kind of that same piano. It's mapped across the board, as you can see, and it's got that delay on it. And then we're just playing in a higher octave here. And then we've also got behind that what we'll call the vocal choir lead sound. And so that sounds like this. And then a little bit higher up on the keyboard, we've got what we can call a synth bell lead. And that sounds like this. Okay. And so another thing I'll just throw out is that the mod wheel in this song, we've got it mapped to opening up the cutoff filter. So down, your synths and pads are going to sound just a little bit different, and then up is kind of the full effect. So as we go through the song, as a general rule, if the mod wheel is pushed up, it means things are going to be a little more intense. The filters are open a little bit more. We're going to get more sizzly cutting sounds. And then pulled back, things are going to kind of fade back a little and fade out. So we'll go ahead and actually get into the beginning of the song. The song starts off with an instrumental, and I'm going to go ahead and play that, and then we'll go ahead and break it down. Okay, so the chord progression that we're using there is a 4-1-5-6-4-1-5. And so we're in the key of G, so that's going to be C, G, D, E minor, C, G, D. We'll hold that D out. I'm going to go ahead and just count through those chord changes so that you can see how that flows. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And so in the right hand, we've got a little lead melody. I'm going to count that out for you real quick. So that goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we repeat that the second time. So then we're going to go ahead and go into the verse. And we're going to actually just drop off that bottom octave on the left hand. And so we're going to just play just the top note there. And that sounds like this. I'm going to play it and then I'll break it down for you. Right? So we're going to go, I'm just counting real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. The progression, if you didn't catch that, it's going to be a minor 6, 5, 1, 5, minor 2. Then we sort of repeat minor 6, 5, 1, 5, and we hold. And so in G, that's going to be E minor 7, D, G, D, A minor 7, E minor 7, D, G, D. And we hold that D out. We don't really do much with the right hand at this part. We've just kind of got that synth arp and that pulsing sidechain type of synth sound. So we can leave the mod wheel up if you want on that point. Or you can sort of start with the mod wheel up, and then as you play, since you've got that right hand free, you can kind of dial it back. It's going to sort of pull down the filter and just kind of create a contrast. And then I like to, because we go right into verse 2 after verse 1, I like to start to fade it up and fade it up. So we just kind of get bigger as we go. So after verse 2, we're going to go ahead and go into the pre-chorus. And so the pre-chorus, we're going to go back to octaves with the left hand. And then with the right hand, we're going to play this lead line up here with the bell synth. I'm going to play through this really quick, and then I'll break it down for you. So the chord progression there is a 4, 1, 5, minor 6, and we're just going to repeat that 2 times. And then if you're in G, it's C, G, D, E minor. Okay, so pretty straightforward on the left hand there, just doing the octaves. We've got the mod wheel up so that we get that nice harp gliss at the end. When we hold the D, make sure you actually hold the notes down. In the right hand, on the, call it the bell synth, I'm going to go ahead and just count that out real quick for you. It sounds like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So from here, we're going to go into the first chorus where the intensity drops down. We're going to drop the left hand, the upper note of the octave, and then just gently play in the lower range so that we just get a nice warm pad. We're going to play, make sure you don't play too hard though, or else you'll get this attack, you'll get the piano layer coming in. I like to leave the mod wheel up all the way so that the synth bass stays in at this part, but that might be too much for your settings, so you can pull it down to about 50% if you need to cut out that synth bass. Now I'm just going to play the chorus progression here real quick, and then I'll break it down. And that goes like this. 1, 2. So you might have noticed a couple things. First, I started counting on, and then we came in actually on 3 and 4. And so that's actually because that first chord we sort of share with the pre-chorus, right? If you remember back on the end of the pre-chorus, we hold out a D for 8 beats, but really we're only going to hold it for 6, and then we'll pick up on 3 and 4 with that E minor. And then on the next beat 1, we'll go into the C. And so the chord progression for the chorus is minor 6, 4, 1, 5, or in G we can call it E minor, C, G, D. You also probably noticed that I played the same lead line that we did in the intro. So real quick, just counting that out, it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. I was a little late on that piano line, but that's okay. So another thing I wanted to point out is that since we do have the mod wheel up, it is going to be triggering that harp gliss. And so we want to make sure that when we play that D, we're taking our finger off and just sustaining it with the sustain pedal. Otherwise, we're going to get that gliss that comes in. It won't be a big deal, but it's just different than how they do it in the original recording. So we're going to play through that progression twice through, and that's just for the first dropped out chorus. So after this, we're going to go ahead and go into another verse, then another pre-chorus, and then we go into a second chorus. So this time, though, the chorus, we're not going to drop down. So the progression is going to be the same, but we're just going to add an upper octave in the left hand, so that upper note of the octave, and then in the right hand, we're going to play arpeggios that follow the same chords. I'm going to go ahead and play it real quick, and then I'll break it down. 1, 2. And so in the right hand, we're going to start off, we're not going to play on the beats 3 and 4, the E minor. We're going to start on the C. And so that's just in the regular root position. That's going to be a C, E, G. We're going to go to a G chord with the first inversion. So the B is going to be the bottom. The same pattern there. We're going to go to a D, just regular old root position. Actually hold that out so it goes for the full 6 beats, and then for the E minor we're just going to do a little rundown, and that's just going to be kind of following the melody. So the count would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and okay. So I like to keep the mod wheel up too, just to keep everything big, but then just experiment in your setting. Maybe you do need to pull it down so it's not quite as intense. The last section we need to cover is the bridge. We're going to play an octave with the left hand and then fill out the chord with the piano section here with the right hand. So I'll just play through it real quick and then I'll break it down. And so I left out the right hand there just so it makes the changes more obvious. But I'm just going to kind of be following along with those chords. So just doing 2 notes. So I'll just kind of go. Make sure to check out your chord chart or your song map so that you can get nice and comfortable with the different chord change timings in the bridge. And with that, we've covered every different part of the song. I'd encourage you to go back and listen to the original recording so that you know when parts drop out and when to build it big. Make sure that you're also comfortable with the mod wheel and know that up past 10%, you're going to get that harp gliss, and when you get up around 75% and higher, you're going to bring that synth bass in. Another thing I want to mention is that if you need to transpose this song, because it uses chord trigger, it's got a couple extra steps, but we've got a tutorial for how to do this up on our website. I hope you enjoy this patch and add it to your collection. Thanks and have a great day. See you later.